Right, hello and welcome back to the channel. This is not my car, as you might have noticed. This is a Ford Sierra XR4x4, which is now a rear-wheel drive with 3-door rear quarters. It's a Mark II. It has a 2.9 12 valve in it, and we're about to sort that out and put a 2.9 24 valve BOB in it. So, I'm going to have a bit of a look around it here. This is the first I've really worked on it, to be honest. So, I'm going to have a bit of a look around it with you, show you what we've got, what we're playing with, and then I'm going to start stripping off all the ancillaries, the wiring, different bits and pieces in the engine bay. I'm hoping to get away with leaving the gearbox in it because it already has an MT75 hybrid in there, which will bolt straight up to the 24 valve Cosworth. So that's the plan. Just disconnect the bell housing bolts, take all the ancillaries off, radiator might stay. I'll see if there's enough room to squeeze the engine out. But get all that stuff out of there and get the donkey out of her. Usually I would just drop the whole lot down with gearbox, subframe, struts, everything and do it. But because this already has the prop shaft and all hooked up, the MT75 in, the clutch cable already on, the clutch cable on a Sierra, if you haven't touched one, worst design ever. I hate it. I'm not built, I'm clearly not built to be lying on the footwell of a Ford Sierra upside down trying to fix the friggin' ratcheting pawl and pinion thing. Basically, it's a self-adjusting clutch, and as soon as you let the pressure off it, the ratcheting thing just goes whoop, straight up, and you've lost all clutch. So, really not nice to fix. Had to do one on the white 24 valve Sierra, the XR4i that was in last year, and I had to actually change the whole mechanism because it was busted. Never again. I hate them. So if that's a reason for leaving the gearbox in, I'm leaving the gearbox in. But right, have a bit of a look around it and we'll go from there. But you might have noticed this as well. So that's why I'm back at the customer work to try and get this thing making money for itself. But yeah. Alright, so try and take these maps out of here first. See the rust falling out of the doobly clip, that's always a good sign. Lovely. Much better. Today in Kris Repair's garage, that's all watch me struggle with a roll of tape. Nope. Rear. Might as well label this one too, I guess. Okay. Let's put this stuff in the boot. This clearly isn't your standard fan setup. Or if it is, it's been modified. I'll bring these in and have a look.
Right, so at this point, my Temu special microphone decided to die. How dare it? But you can see that the fan that's on the car has been clearanced there, inverted commas, to fit around the water pump pulley. It's also cable tied in. Now, need to remove all the water hoses, get it drained. Thankfully, the customer has supplied a genuine metal fan shroud, Sierra one, so I'll get that powder coated up and fitted whenever the job's done. At this point, they're probably wobbling on about airflow meters. Nope, engine mounts, they must be next. So let's see what I do next.
Right, so that's a lot of room cleared in here now. That's the radiator out. A load of room in front of the engine now for activities. As you can see by it needed a flush anyway, so yeah. Right, take a look underneath this thing while we're here, because I'm probably going to end up taking the starter motor off, power steering, pipes and bits and pieces. This used to be a 4x4, still is a 4x4 in the book technically. You can still see the hubs and stuff are left in from the 4x4. Still got the diff, and yeah, there's the output shaft that would have went to the rear, and there's obviously where the front shafts have been blocked off or whatever's done up in there. I don't quite know if it's just a matter of just removing them or not. But yeah, as I say, let's get the starter and everything out, power steering pipes off, exhausts disconnected, different bits and pieces like that. Then I can put her back down, hook up the crane, and get her hooked up out. Right, so as said, everything disconnected up here, fuel lines and stuff all off her, alternator, your power steering pipage and stuff like that's all off, your coolant lines. Yeah, really all that's left now are the two mounts, one on each side, and the bell housing bolts. Then I can hook the chains and stuff up to it and we'll try and get it out. However, I think I'm going to take the bonnet off. Just well, there might be enough clearance, but I'm going to drop the bonnet off just in case. Put it somewhere safe. And yeah, it means then I have so much more room for activities when I'm trying to scratch my head later. Wiring and bits and pieces. So yeah, let's get the bonnet off and we'll go from there. Things have escalated, but we now have the engine mounts removed on both sides. All the bell housing bolts are out. We're about to start now rocking this engine this way and trying to see if it comes up and out. Bonnet is also off, so that's next. Well, what a handling that turned out to be. As you can see, things escalated. The subframe is now dropped onto the floor. The struts are dropped out. All because of diff. The 4x4 system is a complete and utter prick on this thing. It just would not come out around the sub at all. So that took at least, I don't know, a couple of hours. The last time lapse before I started editing it was 45 minutes long. But it's out nonetheless. If anybody ever asks me to remove one of them again, it's a no. Well, it would have probably been easier to drop the whole lot onto the floor. I do admit that. But didn't want to have to start taking the gearbox and everything out. As for the aforementioned reasons with the clutch pedal adjusting pawl thing that I don't want to touch. So now we move on to engine. Need to phone the customer because the wiring loom is about as good shape as the sheathing on top. Focus. Look at the state of that. It's just crumbling. So the whole loom's like that. It's all biodegradable plastic stuff. The whole loom is all cracked and like, yeah. Personally, I would advise going aftermarket on this because the BOB is not handy to wire in the first place, especially not whenever it needs a full engine loom anyway. because yeah, you cannot use that. It's just, I'm not doing it. I'm not setting something out with the wires literally falling off it, ready to short out against something. So I shall have a phone call with the customer and update you shortly. Right, so it's been about a week or so since the last time I was chatting to you. Things have escalated slightly in the fact that I now have the engine apart. I wasn't really intending to take much of all the inlet and all that carry on off if I could have helped it, but it doesn't do any harm to check it, I guess, while it's this far. I need to take it off to get the old loom out. The old loom is fed in between the injector reel that's in the valley, and it's just like, you can't get it out without taking all this stuff off. Customer, thankfully, has decided to go aftermarket, so we're no longer messing about with 35-year-old wiring. We're now going to be putting a brand new loom in. Now, I have the loom already, I'm going to say about 75% made. It's all terminated into the loom plug and cut the length, all branched out where it needs to be. Just need to get it heat shrink, get plugs and stuff all on it, and yeah. If I remember, I'll put a picture of the current progress. It's not a great picture, but it's the only one I have currently. I'll stick it up in the video. We've left a few extra provisions because this engine, hopefully, in the near future is going to become supercharged. So whilst I was doing this loom, I've made the provisions for boost bits and pieces for the oil temperature, oil pressure, knock sensors. It's also getting a digital dash, sorry, I meant to say as well. So all of this sensory stuff will be able to be displayed in front of him when he's driving. Yeah. So there's definitely a few extra wires that won't be used right now in the process, but whenever we do the next stage, which is supercharging and dash and all that stuff, yeah, we'll come back and we'll plug everything in. Don't have to remake the loom or anything, it's all there. So, next stage is going to be to get this other rocker cover off. I don't know if you can see it or not. This one's off. A little bit concerning is this plug hole is full of water, and it's been lying in my shed for, I don't know, 6 months now, this engine. So, yeah, it's been inside for 6 months, which means that water has definitely been in it long before it came here. So I'm going to have to suck that out of it before I take the spark plug out so it doesn't pitch into the engine. So there's another one over here, I think. Yeah, this one's also, no, this one. Yeah, must have been lying outside for a little while. Right, get this rocker cover off. All the bolts out, I think, so it might pop off in video. Probably won't, but probably, oh it does, lovely. I'm ringing. Right, so I'm back after being rudely interrupted there on a phone call. That's the one downside of using your phone as a video camera. Oh no, bolts everywhere. Bolts everywhere. There's that one, and the other one hit the floor. We're all good. Yeah. All the bolts accounted for, none are in the engine. Right, what's this sound like? Right, BOB is a bit more complicated than BOA. BOB has twin chains, twin tensioners, and just a lot more time and bits to go wrong. So, while I'm stripping this thing down, I'm taking the fuel rails and stuff up out to get all these wiring loom bits and pieces out. I need to take off all these old cut hoses and stuff like that. Take off the fan belt to check the water pump, because the water pump, you can't buy them new anymore for these. You have to adapt and modify a BOA water pump from memory. With the timing gear, on the BOA especially, they like to wear through the guides into the so there's a sacrificial material, which is like a plastic, like a nylon-y plasticky stuff. And once it wears through, it wears into the aluminium housing of the tensioner, which then puts filings everywhere. It's just not good. So from having a very quick look down in through with the torch, they look worn but not right through. So for the sake of, I think they're only about 30 or 40 quid each, for the sake of buying a couple of tensioners, I might do them and take all this gubbins off the front to get at them. I'm going to definitely assess what they're like anyway before we go any further. So without any further ado, I think I'm going to start stripping this engine down. All the pulleys want to be powder coated.
get all this painted, getting the inlet manifold vapor blasted. Yeah, these guides, the top chain guides, look actually very good, I have to say. There's no hardly anywhere in that at all, so very happy with those. But it's the ones down in here, because there's a tensioner here and there's a tensioner up in here as well. On the BOA there's only one tensioner in here, but the BOB has two chains. So let's get this thing stripped down. Alright, first things first, let's get this old belt off of here. I've managed to do my wrist in somehow. I have no idea how, but it is currently swollen away up here. Don't know what it is, but nonetheless. Belt is stuck to the pulley, so that's nice. Tensioner still feels okay. A bit noisy, but no play on it. Right. What's the water pump like? There is a wee bit of play on it, but spins alright. Now, take it apart and see later on. Okay. Right, so I've done a little bit more. There's a lot more stuff lying on the floor. Alternator is off, power steering pump, the cradle's off, crank sensor, all the wiring's out, fuel rail's out. I'm just about to start taking the water pump off so that I can then get in behind. Well, I think the water pump's all right. It feels fairly new. It has gasket around it, gasket sealer. So that would tell me that it's already been replaced at some point. So all we can do at this point is send it and hope for the best. Yeah. Every single plug hole in this has water in it if you go looking deeper. They all have water line in the bottom of them, so I'll have to deal with that before I do anything further, take the plugs or anything out. Yes, so water pump off. I think then I think there's a bolt up in there, if it's the same as the BOA. There's one just there, somewhere. Come on, focus. No, you can't really, sort of, down in there. If you ever taken a front timing cover off a V6 Cosworth, there's a bolt in there, an Allen key, a long one. There's one in there, which is another long one, and there's a return bolt which goes this way. Catches a lot of people out, including myself the first time I ever tried it. So, yeah, water pump off, crank pulley off. I'm going to turn it over. I haven't even turned it yet, so I'm going to turn it over before I take that off. Some bolts out at the front, all the bolts I mentioned, and then the bolts. Take the timing cover off, and we'll have a bit of a look and see what the timing gear's like. Alright, so water pump now off. I've turned the engine over. There's plenty of compression on it. It's now sitting at TDC. You can tell because of the way that it is, but the cam washers all point to each other, 1, 2, 3, 4, and whenever the crank pulley's on, it points to the, not the right hand one, it points to the 1, 2, third one to the left for TDC. So yeah, you can tell whenever the keyway is up and down as well. So anyway, drain on the oil, then I shall start taking this front timing cover off. Okay, so it was getting late at this point, but nonetheless I managed to struggle and get this off. I had to release the tensioners in the end to get the flipping cover off, whoever decided to design that. Now, guides look like they're worn, but there's still plenty of meat left on them. There's no cracks, there's no other like fatigue marks, defects, whatever you want to call them, so I'm happy enough to reuse these. I'm going to take this guide out too and have a look. There's one that sneaks the whole way up inside the head here. I'll tell you certain how to get it out. It must be, there we go. This thing here comes out. There's a bolt in behind it from memory. So yeah, anyway, that'll do me for tonight.
In fact, that'll do me for this video. Yeah, next one should hopefully see the engine all being put back together. It should see engine being put in the hole, wired up, plumbed up, and I'll see. Might have time for a first start. But for now, pretty decent progress. Fairly happy with how it's going. And yeah, I shall catch you in the next one. Bye.